last but not least, Dr. James Hewitt. I'll tell you a little bit about Dr. James Hewitt. When I got the brief, they told me you're meeting Dr. James Hewitt, and something stopped me. I thought, great. He's a human performance scientist. And the first question that I have, Doctor, first of all, thank you for being with us on KnowTalks. I wanted to ask you, is there human performance science?
There is now.
Okay.
So I invented it. No, not really. No.
Love it.
So it is a domain that people are increasingly familiar with, but it's multidisciplinary. So that means that really that it's an umbrella. Human performance science is like a package. And within that, we can think about psychology and physiology and human behavior. But essentially, it's exploring how can we as humans experience more of our potential. And that's what my driving passion is, however you want to label that.
Wow. And we're talking about, earlier I was wondering, when I first read it, my brain went, is it physical performance or is it cerebral brain performance?
Yes.
Which one are we talking about?
It's both.
It's both.
Yeah, it's everything. Because we've got this big challenge, I think, in the workplace, in life, maybe in the world more broadly, that we often tend to separate the mind and the body. We got this tendency, particularly in the West, I think, to think neck up or neck down. You see it in sport as well. People think about training the body, people think less about training the brain. But the reality is that a healthy, high-performing brain must be sitting on a healthy, high-performing body. We're an integrated system. And so one of my core beliefs is that we need to look at humans as in an integrated system, and not only individually, also how we interact with each other as well. And the brain and the body is something that ideally works together, so we can reach more of that potential rather than separating it out.
It's just the way you put it just now. You took me through a journey. You said we need to look at the human as a one piece altogether, body and brain. But then we need to look at the human and its relationship with other humans, and you linked it to sports in a way because that's exactly what happens. I mean, if you have the highest performing athletes from a physical perspective, but they're not mentally prepared, chances are they're not going to succeed. And if there's one of them or two of them or even 10 of them that are fully prepared, but one is underperforming, it might affect the entire structure, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, over the years, I've had the privilege to work with a really wide range of high performers. So in sports, ranging from cycling to alpine skiing to motorsport, including in Formula One. And I think, Formula One as a sport provides some really interesting examples of what you've just described, both individual performance, but how teams operate. So if you're a Formula One fan, you might be familiar with the idea of pit stops. So where they have to change the tyres on the car, maybe they might even make some adjustments. The world record for a pit stop is 1.8 seconds. So set by Lando Norris and the McLaren team, funny enough here in the Gulf region actually, in Qatar. And that is an example, 20 people, each with individual roles, each very high performers on a personal level, working together in unison, in harmony, to create this fantastic performance where they can completely overhaul that car essentially
in 1.8 seconds.
And so that's just one example from that sport of how we can look at what humans are capable of if the individual and the team work together effectively.
1.8 seconds is less time than actually saying 1.8 seconds.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Oh my God. So the car comes in, it stops, they change everything.
Yeah, so old wheels tires off, new boots, on and away.
And petrol probably, and then out.
Not anymore. They don't do refueling anymore.
They don't.
But that's kind of gone out. But they might in a slightly longer pit stop change nose cones, make some adjustments. But its purest form is that wheel change.
And as you said, if just one of those underperforms, the number is gone.
Yeah, and so it's really interesting. So you get to know something about me. I like frameworks. I like science, sometimes to a fault. But there's this really fascinating phenomena. It's got a very technical name. It's called interactive neural synchrony. But basically it describes how human beings interact effectively when there's three conditions that are met. So one, it's called conceptual alignment. It's just a fancy way of saying that you and I are on the same page. The second is really interesting. It's called behavioral coordination. So it's where now we're behaviorally coordinating our body language, the way we're sitting. If I was sitting like over here looking away, we're not coordinated behaviorally. That's important. And the final piece is called mutual prediction. It means that when we're on the same page and we're coordinated behaviorally, we've got a bit of a sense of what we might do next. You know that I'm not just going to get up and walk out of here, so this conversation can continue. You see that in a Formula 1 pit stop too, and you alluded to this point that that team has to work together perfectly. If one person made a mistake, it all goes wrong. So if you watch those different people in that pit stop, there's one person moving out the way at the same time as there's someone else moving in. If that person moving out the way doesn't do that, then it all goes wrong. So you have to trust your team, everyone doing their right job, the right thing at the right time. And it's just a great example of how, in a perfect world, humans can interact when we're on the same page. Doesn't mean we believe the same thing, but we're on the same page. When there's alignment behaviorally, and where there's a level of trusting that that person's going to do something next that's aligned with what we're trying to achieve.
Wow. Yesterday I was talking to a heart surgeon.
Fascinating.
Who stopped being a heart surgeon and changed to something else. Her name is Dr. Kirsten Brem. She was here. And she said something fascinating as well. She says in a heart surgery room, when you're operating on someone's heart, you know that the thoughts of everybody around you isn't necessarily aligned. So while you're leading that operation, somebody else is thinking, I want to be on the mountains. And somebody else saying, oh my God, it's going to be traffic in a bit. Let's wrap it up. And she says all of that doesn't matter because the way you operate, she goes, those emotions don't intercept, do not interrupt their behavior. So she goes something along the lines of, if you figure those out and you accept them, and then you turn that operation into direct performance, it works. Otherwise it doesn't, which is very similar to what you're describing as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's very human. And I think there's all kinds of interesting examples of this. I think surgery is a fantastic example, where you think about the surgeon leading in all those roles, as your guest shared yesterday. Also, I think music is a great example. If you think about an orchestra, where everyone needs to play at the right volume, at the right pace, in the right time. And I think there's so many interesting learnings that give us examples of what's possible when individuals perform at a very high level in partnership with others, where there's different skills, different capabilities, different ideas working together towards a common goal.
Dr. James, I have a question about knowledge and the human performance science. How do they intersect?
So by knowledge, what do you mean exactly? What we know, what we think we know?
So if when I improve my performance, when I improve my human performance, my cerebral performance, or
cognitive performance, or
cognitive performance, do I improve my ability to acquire knowledge, or does it work the other way around? When I acquire more knowledge, I improve.
Good. That's a great question. Well, I'd say that it's a false dichotomy in the sense of I think it can be both. Again, I'll give you an example of that. The best example probably of how improving human performance might improve our ability to acquire knowledge can be found in the relationship between sleep and our memory. Now, when we sleep, it plays a critical role in the formation of memories, of long-term memory. But also, when we've slept adequately, it improves our ability to retain information, even short-term, our working memory too. So you see two examples of this. If you sleep poorly, or you don't sleep enough, your ability to form long-term memories is really impaired. So we can see this where they've done experiments where people have to learn a piece of information, and then they either get to sleep well or sleep poorly. And that information, that knowledge is going to be retained so much more effectively if we've slept well. And that's because of how the brain actually structures those memories and encodes them during sleep. If you haven't slept well, you also see what happens just day to day in terms of working memory. We can retain fewer pieces of information when we haven't slept adequately. It also builds up even if we've been awake for a long period. So if you've been awake for 18 hours, that's equivalent to working from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m., which unfortunately in some workplaces is quite common sometimes.
In some societies, it's pretty common.
Exactly. Cognitive performance is as bad as being legally drunk in most European countries. It's equivalent to having a blood alcohol concentration of 0.05. So these elements of human performance, what I'd call the foundations of human performance, and one of those foundations really is adequate quality sleep, massively improves our ability to retain, to acquire, to then build on knowledge. But also it can work in a virtuous cycle. We know that there's something called mastery experiences, which describe our experience of learning something new, of improving, of developing. And that is a really critical component in our well-being. So that process of being able to explore new ideas, to be able to learn, to be able to experience improvement is critical to human thriving, which again supports human performance. So I think both these aspects of well-being and performance really support each other in a bi-directional relationship, both helping us acquire knowledge, but also that knowledge improving aspects of well-being and performance too.
Wow. If I was to come to you as a human performance scientist, and I would tell you, give me tips on how to improve me. I want to improve. And guys, pay attention, because he's going to tell you a few tips that's going to help everybody, right? Regardless of who I am and regardless of what I do. What are the 3 most common things that hinder our ability to perform?
So there's a really interesting model. I love models, maybe too much, but it's called self-determination theory. It's the most enduring psychological theory in the science of human thriving. And the reason that it's so enduring is because it's so predictive, because it describes 3 factors, which if those factors are fulfilled, it supports human well-being, thriving, performance individually and as teams. If those aspects are impaired, it strongly predicts worse well-being, worse performance. Those 3 factors are: 1, autonomy. So that's a sense of feeling self-directed. 2, competence, feeling capable and effective. And 3, relatedness, which is about being connected to others. So my starting point would be to say, Nick, how are you getting on in terms of your sense of autonomy? Do you feel that you're able to apply your time and energy in a way that's aligned with what you're passionate about, with your values, with the things that you're really interested in, that you're trying to develop? 2, competence. Do you feel capable and effective? Do you have not just the skills, but the capacity in terms of your emotional energy, your psychological energy, your cognitive ability? And 3, perhaps most importantly, connectedness, that relatedness. Who do you work with? And who do you live with? Think about friends, partners, family, spouses, maybe pets. Those people that you're connected with who you're investing in, but also are investing in you. And I think if you can find a way to support those 3 factors and develop them over time, then you'd be on track to achieving more of your potential and experiencing the human performance I think many of us strive for.
I'll tell you what you've just said now, I honestly think I'm going to go and do a full audit of all 3 of them, honestly. A message you want to send to our audience in Dubai after the 10th Summit of Knowledge?
Simply that you are likely capable of more than you ever imagined. The human brain, the human body is capable of so much. There's so much potential in all of us. And the thing that often holds us back, it might be our kind of culture, it might be the people around us, but we've often got a lot more capability and a lot more autonomy than we imagine. So I just encourage the audience that if you've got a dream, if you've got something that you're working towards, try and find ways to put yourself in an environment where there's people who are going to support you. Develop that sense of self-direction, the skills you need, because you'll probably surprise yourself about what you can achieve if you take a step back and realize the potential that's within both your human body and your brain.
And if I may add one more thing, you're in a place right now that provides a brilliant infrastructure, so you pretty much have no excuses. Listen to Dr. James, work on those 3 elements, and you're in the right place to do great things. You can achieve a lot more than you can, right?
I agree. And I think I'm so privileged to be in this part of the world, to be able to meet you and the audience here. And I completely agree that there's huge opportunity here.
Dr. James, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.